everyone. Today I'll be dealing with the poem Freedom by Rabindranath Tagore. It is one of the poems that you have to study in the text same case. Okay, so giving an introduction to Rabindranath Tagore, the poet himself, he is one of the biggest figures in the Indian literature. He was born in Calcutta in 6 May 1861, and he was sent to England in order to by his father in order to make him a barrister. But after returning to India, coming back in India, he participated in the national movement for freedom, and in after some time in 1901 he moved to Shantiniketan and spent the rest of his life there, and he became the first Asian and the first non-European to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his work Gitanjali, and he returned the honor of knighthood which was conferred on him by the British government in 1915 in order to protest against the imperial policies that British was following or making up in India. And his role in the education, in the part of education in India, can be seen in his founding of in the foundation of Vishwa Bharati University, and the two national anthems that you have to always remember, the two national anthems, India's Jana Gana Mana and Bangladesh Amar Sonar Bangla, it was written by him, and he died on 7th August 1841. If Shakespeare is called as the bard upon even, then here Tagore is called as the bard of Bengal. Okay, Bard means poet of Bengal, and he gained wide acceptance across the globe through the English translations of his work done either by himself or by other people. Then now moving on into the poem, some introduction to the poem. For Tagore, always freedom was not just the political freedom. Okay, and his kind of freedom was the liberation of the human spirit, the entire soul of the human beings from the shackles of all oppressive dogmas and conventions. Okay, so the real freedom according to Tagore was the freedom from all kinds of oppression, whether it be religious, political, moral and intellectual. So he wishes his countrymen to be united in this struggle for independence or for freedom in order to reach the highest state of freedom, or in order to reach the highest state of liberation. So the poem assumes great significance when new powers of I'll be quoting from the text. The poem assumes great significance when new powers of the neoliberal globe try to control our country. That means when poet wrote this particular poem, India was under the control of the British imperialists. But right now, now also this poem has a lot of significance, because in this new globalized era, many new neoliberal institutions are trying to control different nations. Okay, that means now the control is, or the exploitation is done by the corporations and the first world nations, majority through corporations. Okay, so the poet assumes great significance here when the new powers of the neoliberal globe try to control our country, and okay, when Aung San Suu Kyi said the only real prison is fear and the only real freedom is freedom from fear, she was suggesting the universalism of Tagore's definition of the same. Now we will go on with the poem Freedom, line by line. Freedom by Rabindranath Tagore. Freedom from fear is the freedom I claim for you, my motherland. In the first two lines, the poet tells us that the freedom that he claims for his motherland is not just the political freedom, but it is the freedom from all kinds of fears that it has been suffering till now. That means he wants his motherland to be free from all the unnecessary bondages that it had to suffer till now. He wants his motherland to be modern in its thought but respecting the tradition, want his motherland to reject all the unnecessary customs and beliefs that it was believing till now, and he want India to emerge as a new country. So here he refers to the India as his motherland, and he tell his readers that he want his motherland to be free, not just politically, but it should be free from all kinds of fears that it has been suffering till now. So it is the freedom from fear that he claims for his motherland. In the first line we find the sound f, f, the letter f, sound f is repeating. So there it is alliteration. The poetic device used there is alliteration, and it shows the urgency of the call for Indian independence. Next line, freedom from the burden of the ages, bending your head, breaking your back, blinding your eyes to the beckoning call of the future. Now here in the third line, the poet refers to India, or the poet builds on the image of India as that of an aging mother. Okay, and he wants her to be free. And from what all things he needs is this aging mother, the land of India, to be free from the burden of the ages. From the burden of the ages mean it refers to the yoke of British colonialism. It want this aging mother, the land of India, to be free from the yoke of British colonialism. Who has been the aged mother who represents India bends her head, and it is breaking its back, and due to the burden of ages, and also it also blinds her eyes under the burden of colonialism. So the poet here they tell the first freedom that the poet claimed for his motherland is the freedom from fear. The next freedom is the freedom from the burden of ages, the freedom from the yoke of British colonialism. Okay, now he wants his aging mother who is bending her head out of this burden, who is breaking her back carrying this burden, and who blinds her eyes towards the future under the British colonialism. He wants her mother to be free from this burden of ages. And here we find freedom from the burden of ages, bending your head, breaking your back, blinding your eyes to the beckoning call of future. Here you find the letter B, the sound B repeating, and again there it is the poetic device used is alliteration, and the poet shows that India does not see a future, or it cannot imagine a brighter future under the a brighter future for herself by because it is blinding its eyes, being controlled by the British colonizer. Okay, so the alliteration here is the repetition of the sound b, so it is alliteration, and the poet shows that how India does not see a brighter future, or it does not see a future, or how India cannot imagine a better future because she always blinds her eyes as she is trapped under the British colonizer. Okay, now next one, freedom from the shackles of slumber, wherewith you fasten yourself in night's stillness, mistrusting the star that speaks of truth's adventurous paths. Now here the shackles of a slumber, it refers to the long standing passivity and inactivity caused by the slavery of British imperialism. Okay, so the shackles of slumber, the phrase shackles of slumber refers to the inactivity or passivity caused in the Indian life, or in India, or in Indians' life due to the slavery to British imperialism. So the poet wants freedom from this slavery to British imperialism, wherewith you fasten yourself in night's stillness. So here the poet tells us that instead of looking forward, India sleeps not thinking about a better future for tomorrow. She is fastening herself to the night's stillness. Night is a time when all are passive, when we all go to when everything in this world go to stillness except a few creatures. So the poet tells us that India is now not looking forward for a better future, but India sleeps not thinking of her future. She is fastening herself to the night's stillness. And here meaning that the country is still living in the past. Okay, the country is still living in the past and also in its present condition, and which is in the present condition, which is a very dark situation. Okay, a dark situation, as it is completely colonized nation right now. So instead of looking for a better future for tomorrow, and instead of working for it, now we are all what do you say, immersed in the shackles of slumber. We are all sitting passively, sitting inactive, by serving as slaves to the British imperialism. So um, the poet tells us that she is fastening herself to the night's stillness, meaning that the country is still living in its past and in the darkness of its current situation of colonialism. Okay, whole together the poet tells us that the country is making a passive existence, and whole together the country is making a passive existence under the colonial rule. Freedom from shackles of slumber. Here the poet refers to the phrase shackles of slumber. That means here he tells us that the poet want to convey to his readers that instead of looking forward, instead of imagining for a brighter future or a brighter tomorrow in the India, our country is still fastening herself to the night's stillness, meaning that the country is still living in its past and in its dark and in the darkness of the current situation of colonialism. The poet, in a sentence we can tell us that the poet want to convey that the country is making a dark and passive existence under the colonial rule. Now moving on, freedom from the anarchy of destiny. Whole sails are weakly yielded to the blind uncertain winds, and the helm to a hand ever rigid. And now till now what the poet was telling us is that the country does not look around in the night stillness because it is dark time, and that is what the poet tried to represent by using the phrase night stillness. Okay, and therefore it cannot imagine a brighter future for itself as it is as an independent nation. Okay, since immersed in the night stillness, the country cannot look for a brighter future for itself as an independent nation. Now, the next freedom that the poet tried to claim here is the freedom from the anarchy of destiny. That means the poet does not want his country to passively submit itself to the fate that has been given to it. Okay, that means without making an attempt or without trying hard enough to become an independent nation, he does not want his country he does not want his country to say that it was its fate. Okay, it is the duty of every Indian to work for the freedom as a single unit, as a whole. All Indians should work together in order to achieve the freedom for our nation. And instead of, without working for this freedom and just submitting itself to the fate that has been given to it, is just a kind of activity done by it's a bit cowardice. Okay, it's not a brave activity. So anarchy of destiny, by the phrase anarchy of destiny, the poet here refers to the blind and passive submission to the fate. Whole sails are weakly yielded to the blind uncertain winds, and the helm to a hand ever rigid and cold as death. Here India is being compared to the sail of a ship moving under the uncertain winds. So here the comparison is without using the word like. So the poetic device used here is metaphor. Okay, so now India is now the poet tried to tell us that now India is like a sail of a boat which has to move in all directions in this uncertain winds, which which has to follow this, because when see, India's condition, the present condition of India is like a sail of a boat moving, a sail of a boat which has to follow uncertain winds which blow in every direction. Okay, that is and also which is now under the hand of someone who doesn't care. Okay, so India's current condition of India is like this, that it is like that of the sail of a boat which has to follow the uncertain winds which blow in all directions. Okay, and uh, given under the hands of some given under some uncaring hands. Now, the next line, freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world where movements are started through brainless wires, repeated through mindless habits, where figures wait with patience and obedience for the master of show to be stirred into a mimicry of life. Mimicry of life here refers to living an inauthentic life controlled by someone else. Okay, so mimicry of life refers to living an inauthentic life controlled by someone else. So now the Indians living in India are under the control of the British colonizer, and now the kind of life that he is living, the Indians are living, is like that of a puppet. Puppet refers to, in Malayalam we will say pavagal. Okay, so now in this here, the next freedom that the poet wants here is the freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world. Dwelling means living. So now the poet wants his citizens to claim the freedom from living an inauthentic life. He doesn't want his citizens to live a puppet's life. Okay, so freedom from living in a puppet's world is the next freedom that he wants to claim for his motherland. So because in a puppet's world, every citizen is controlled, because in the current condition of India, in the present situation, in India everyone is controlled or made to live and dance according to the whims of the colonizer or the British. So here Indians are compared to a puppet, because the puppets are made to dance by its master by using a thread attached to the puppet and attached between the puppet and the master's fingers. As the master moves his hands or his arms, the puppet move in that direction. So likewise, the Indians under the control of the British colonizer is living the life of a puppet, living according to the whims and fancies of the colonizer. So this is a kind of life, this kind of life is not the real life, it is a kind of insult. So So here the freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world where movements are started through the brainless wires. These wires connecting between the fingers of the master and the and the puppet are brainless wires, because they are in the actions are controlled by the master, and these wires are just a kind of link. There is no so the whole activity and the whole decisions are taken by the master. Here in India, Indians doesn't have a voice to say what they want. All the actions and all the decisions are done by the colonizer, who is an external person. So he want Indians to be free from this kind of a puppet life that they are dwelling in right now. Repeated through mindless habits. That means repeated through mindless habits. Here the poet tells us that as Indians have been controlled by the British for a long time, and this dancing like a puppet have become a habit for the Indians. So Indians follow the British like a custom without any reason. Indians don't think why they have to follow the decisions or the commands of the British colonizer who has come from another land and settled in their own land. So here the poet tells us that through the line repeated through the mindless habits. Here the poet tells us that Indians are made to live a puppet's life by the British colonizer, and Indians readily accept it because it has become a habit for them. So, and Indians follow the British like a custom without any reason. And the figures wait with patience. Here the figures refers to the puppets. That means indirectly the figures refers to Indians. Okay, so where the figures wait with patience and obedience for the master of the show. So here Indians, being the puppets by controlled by the British colonizer, here wait with lot of patience and obediently in order to get the orders to be followed from the Britishers or the colonizers, to be stirred into a mimicry of life, and thus we all have an inauthentic life controlled by others, or thus we live an inauthentic life as we are controlled by others. So here the poet tried to tell us that we want freedom, and it is not just the political freedom, it is the freedom of the whole spirit of a human being. So what are the freedoms that the poet here asks for? It is the freedom from the fear. Freedom from the fear is the freedom that he claimed for his motherland. And second, the freedom from the burden of ages, which is making India bend down its head, break its back, and blind its eye towards the call of the future. Then the next freedom is freedom from the shackles of slumber. That means freedom from the inactivity caused due to the slavery to British imperialism. The next one is the freedom from the anarchy of destiny. That means the poet want we Indians not to submit ourselves to a fate which was given to us by someone else. So it is our duty to fight for the freedom and to drive away this colonizers away from our land. So the poet warned us not to submit ourselves blindly and passively to the fate. The next one, it is the freedom from the insult of living in a puppet's world. So these are the freedoms that the poet asked for in the poem. So you can get a question of what are the freedom that the poet asked here. It may be a two sentence question. It can be a paragraph question, and it can be an essay question also. If it's an essay question, you will have to substantiate the entire summary of the poem with your own evidences also. And the notes on the patriotism and the themes and the concept of freedom. The essay question and one of the paragraph questions I have attempted making points in the form of PPT, which will be attached behind this video. So you can make notes there, and I have clearly mentioned there that the points which I have mentioned under the heading under different headings doesn't mean that points belong to just that particular heading. Depending upon the question that you get, you can mold these points in the way you want and build up your answers. So this is just a helping hand for you. You will have to really study the summary, read the introduction well in order to answer the the objective questions in a good manner. Okay. So this is it. Hope you will get this video will be helpful for you. And before moving on, I would like to tell you that this poem evokes a spirit among the Indians, because it evokes a sense of optimism and hope in the countrymen who are completely dejected, or who was completely dejected and depressed under the colonizers' rule, under the British rule. And also this poem want the well-being and the progress of its countrymen. That's why he is asking for the different freedoms. It's not just a political freedom. He doesn't want ask for the freedom of his motherland, this political freedom alone. He asked for the freedom in its entire sense. He want his countrymen to widen their thoughts and work together for the welfare and the well-being of the entire nation. Till the freedom, because we suffered a lot because of our superstitious beliefs. We believed in a lot of systems like sati. We believed in untouchability. We believed in a lot of mantras and tantras instead of looking for a proper cure for a disease. We superstitiously believed in everything without trying to know the reason. So the time of our freedom struggle was also the time of a lot of scientific and technological advancements throughout the world. And since being able to go outside and learn the other cultures, all people like Tagore, Raja Ram Mohan Roy and so on also asked for the social reform rather than the political independence. Yes, they asked for the political independence definitely, but along with political independence, what they urged more was the was for the independence of the human spirit, the independence in our actions. Because if we ourselves are controlled by superstitions, no freedom would give us anything. So actually the Indians should be free from their superstitious and unwanted beliefs, and that was what Tagore was trying to ask these people to gain through this particular poem. uh, So here the poem presents the poet's vision of an independent nation where all its citizens would be free in spirit as well as strong in their will. And here so altogether the poet want to tell us that he want to see his brothers and sisters living in respect and living in pride and self-respect. Okay, so the so he gave more importance to the freedom of thought and the freedom how these thoughts are taken up in our action, the freedom of speech, and also how we try to implement these thoughts in through our actions. Okay, so thus he wanted his countrymen to always ask for the truth and strive towards perfection, because only if the citizens become responsible citizens, only then the proper development of a nation will be possible. So though while he was writing this poem, though India was moving through a lot of uncertainties, he is trying to give India a new form of existence. Okay, or he is trying to guide India what form of existence would make it a better nation in future. So this is what I have to tell you. And now in which year Tagore won the Nobel Prize? It is in 1913. And in which of the following works is not by the Tagore? Here Gitanjali, Giti Malya, Anandamad and Mansi. In the not written by Tagore is Anandamad, because it is written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee or Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. Okay, so that's it. The essay question, you will get the points to be added in the essay question in this in the form of PPT behind, and it will be attached behind this video. And patriotism as a theme I have discussed there in the PPT, and also the images of colonialism in freedom. Images of colonialism, shackles of slumbers. Shackles refers to the chain. So you are chained to your own sleep. That means when a person who will always live in the darkness, when he sees light for the first time, he will be afraid. So Indians are always Indians. A poet tells us that Indians are just like that, because until now Indians, though they didn't have their own freedom, they didn't know what it would be the real freedom. They were living under the control of the Britishers, and it has become a habit for them to passively obey the Britishers, and they were finding comfort. They were trying to make a comfort zone there. Okay, so without knowing what the real freedom is, you should not submit yourself to your fate. That is what the poet is telling us. Without really understanding or feeling the real right of freedom, you should not tell that the freedom is impossible. No, you should work for it. You should strive for getting freedom, and then you should enjoy the flowers of freedom. Only then you would understand how exploitative the British colonizer was. So you should not passively submit to the colonialism or your fate. You should work for freedom. Okay, so that is what the Tagore tried to tell us. Then here he tells us how the motherland was kept at the fingertips by the Britishers. And then images of colonialism. You can find that a ship moving in uncertain winds because it is being controlled by someone who doesn't care for the fate of the ship. So that can be the someone who doesn't care for the fate of the ship is the colonizer himself. Okay, so these are the images there. Then also the dancing like a puppet, making the Indians dance like a puppet on by a master. So here the master is the colonizer himself. So these are the images of colonialism that you can find here. uh, so that's it. So I hope this video would be very useful for you, or it would be at least of some kind of help for you during this pandemic time, since you are not able to go to the college or to discuss or to study, make a group study with your friends and clear your doubts. So I hope this would be of some kind of help for you. If you like this video, please do like, if you after watching, if you like the video, please do like, subscribe and share. Your subscriptions and your comments are also very important, so please do that. And also try to spread it to the maximum student communities, if it would be helpful for them. Okay, so thank you. Stay safe and healthy, and use your time wisely to study. Thank you, and have a very nice day. And the PPT will be attached to the will be just following right now at the end of this video. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy.